they're
Possible
they
changes that are causing them distress.
yeah, but what about the long-term effects? Because from what I've researched and gathered, these type of medicines can have negative effects and long-term effects. Like like when you sorry, I get a little nervous when I get on live. I don't like to do it. But I'm kind of like passionate about this a little bit because when they go on to puberty blockers and hormones, sure, yeah, it slows down the process of it. Maybe it doesn't stop it, but like in the long term effect of it,
What's
you
the
know,
long-term effect of it that you're concerned about?
the bone density.
Okay, so they do bone density scans, right? A child is monitored every 3 months when they're on puberty blockers. They go back in and get checkups. If they're having any type of bone density issues, they can be prescribed vitamin D, right?
So,
They also are told, high impact exercise can help build bone density. That is the best way. So that is another thing that a child is told to participate in. And if they go back in and their bone density has gotten worse and they have not, the exercise isn't working or they haven't done it, then they'll take the child off the puberty blockers.
I mean, how long has if I may ask a personal question, like how long has your child been transitioning?
So that's kind of a weird question. She has been out, I guess, and affirming her gender for 2 years, almost 2 years.
And she hasn't had any kind of negative effects from it?
From being trans.
No, I mean, is she on the hormones? Is she taking puberty blockers and the
She
hormones?
didn't take puberty blockers. She was too far past her. She was too far into her puberty,
Yeah.
so she's on
So,
HR.
so no, I mean, it's not like a problem with being trans. Like, I mean, trans people exist, right? I know that and I support that, but like, I also believe that we're not necessarily at a stage where we know what all these drugs or prescriptions could possibly do. And I think there needs to be like maybe a little bit more studies that go along with it, just so that it's
They're
like
not stopping studying. Like, of course, they're going to continue
yeah.
to study the medications, but puberty blockers have been used for 40 years.
Yeah, but there's also been like the effects that have come with that with bone density as well. Like where it can weaken someone. I mean, you can even talk to anybody who's gone on some of these
Yeah,
hormones and
and
they talk about,
there is there is a solution for that, right?
yeah,
So
but you,
when you are prescribed any medication, there's always risks, and it's about assessing the benefits versus the risks.
okay, so let's take
The risk.
SSRI as an example. When you're taking an SSRI and they prescribe you a specific type of milligram for that, you take it for a set amount of period of time. And then eventually you have to go up in milligrams because your body develops an immunity to it and you have to take more so that it kind of has the same effect.
I don't
What
know if
about
that's really true.
it is true. I mean,
Well,
that's why people, I mean,
but I
think
don't
about it. When
know.
people go to their doctors, they're taking a
That's
medication.
not, no, I've been on an SSRI for over 2 years and I have not changed my dosage. So I don't know where you got that from.
No, I mean it has to do with the serotonin levels inside of the brain. Like say if you're taking a controlled substance like
But
Concerta,
what does that have to do with puberty blockers?
it has to do with your body building up immunity to whatever you're intaking.
You're not even on puberty blockers for very long. You can't be on puberty blockers for very long. You can't leave a child prepubescent for long periods of time.
What I'm saying though is that if
I
you
don't know
take
why.
it over time, you start to develop immunity to these type of drugs,
I think what you're
which
saying is
means that you'll. What I'm trying to say is you're telling me that there's solutions that assist in these type of situations. Like you have the medicines, the vitamin, like vitamin D, as you said, that you can take that would help with these type of you know.
right.
Yeah, that's because sometimes a short term or even just a potential risk could develop into a long term issue if it's unaddressed. So, if you're, for example, take a puberty blocker and you're losing bone density, but you do nothing to help it, then it's going to turn into a long-term issue or a chronic issue at that point.
And that's what
So
I
you
was
just
saying.
have to be,
That's why the
yeah,
child monitored.
that's right.
Long
This is where
period
yeah, that's why monitoring is super important. But a
of
puberty
time
blocker is
after
different
you
than an SSRI, because all it's doing is just telling.
after you've
Do
taken
you mind if
that,
I
so
finish
that
my thought real quick? So, like a puberty blocker is different than an SSRI. What a puberty blocker does is just telling the brain to not send certain signals. That's it. And those signals don't reach your gonads. So that's why they're different than SSRIs.
yeah, yeah, but like the thing is though, even if you are a gender that you do not want to be, your body needs to be able to develop because it does serve important your body
Right.
through growth serves a
I
purpose
did say
so that
this
you can
as
be
well.
have stronger
You
immune
can't,
system.
I literally said this already. I said you cannot leave a child prepubescent for very long. They do have to go through
Correct.
puberty.
Yep. It's just a matter
Wait,
of
no, you
whether or
also
not.
said though that you said that it also slows it down though too. I mean,
That's
I
right.
wasn't discrediting what you were saying to the
Yeah. So
lady. I wasn't.
some people are on puberty blockers for 7 or 8 years because they might have like endometriosis or some other significant endocrine issue. But in terms of a child going through significant issues with their gender, they're not on it for very long because they are mostly focused on making sure the child is only on a puberty blocker between Tanner stages 2 and 4 and for short periods of time. Because what they want to do, 'cause I've worked on this before as a therapist, like we help the child go through therapy better, then they go off it and they're able to cope with it. That's the point of it.
And how would a child be when they would start doing these? Just, I mean, out of curiosity,
They're
like
usually
what
extremely
age would you
distressed.
say would be appropriate?
There's no age appropriate. It's about Tanner stage 2, which can appear at any age range. So some kids appear at 9 years old at Tanner stage 2, some
See,
at 10,
I
some at 8, some at 11 even, but it
personally
just
just
depends.
disagree. I mean, respectfully,
Disagree with what? What are you disagreeing with?
but see, and I think steps that could be taken in affirming their gender, but not giving them all these medications or even surgeries that
Yeah,
they're
it's
There
doing
called
on
are.
therapy.
kids.
It's
Like,
called
there's some kids that
therapy.
are getting surgeries.
No,
Yeah,
there are
but no,
not
I'm
kids
saying
getting
like
surgery.
surgeries where they're like, there have been.
No. So what you'll see is some insurance claims through like state insurance, for example, with kids that are like 13 or 14 go into programs for surgery in a couple of years, but they're in the programs for a couple of years before they get surgery. So the insurance claim is just the claims, but in terms of getting the actual surgery is no earlier than 16. So like a 12-year-old isn't going to get surgery for gender dysphoria because their body is rapidly developing, and so getting a surgery at that age time or that frame of development would be very harmful.
All right, that sounds a little better.
A little what?
I don't know what is that either.
I don't know either. I
So
can't even hear
are
them.
you just against trans kids? Like, because we're educating you on the process and you just keep going, well, no, nah, nah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's just interesting. Like, I didn't realize this, Mel, that all of us in the medical field, whether we're doing therapy or endocrinology, we're just doing this because we don't know what we're doing.
I just
Yeehaw.
don't understand how people aren't like, oh, okay, that
You know what
makes
I mean?
sense. They're just like, nah. It just seems weird.
Oh, sorry about the wind.
And kind of
What?
you know, see what it is that you want to be all about before, I mean,
What is this
before going
esoteric?
into a finish
What
line
is this
thing, though. I
esoteric
think it's
statement
a
coming up?
finish.
I think they have a lag or like a bad connection, so we're only hearing like parts of what they're
Yeah,
saying.
I feel like it's like some esoteric statement about being something philosophically. I'm like, this is not about philosophy.
Yeah, being trans is not an adult decision. Like too many people have that misconception, and it's harmful to these kids. It's not a decision at all. Are you done? I don't know. Your connection is shit.
Yeah, bro. Bad signal, bro.
I didn't. I'm not saying that. I didn't say that
Bro's talking to himself.
kids couldn't transcend. That it's still, you could, yeah, but you could still.
Bro's talking to
Really,
himself.
really
Hey,
bad
guys,
lag.
you can boot me.
Okay.
Hi, Mel.
Hi.
Bro.
Bruh. Hey, what's up, bruh?
Bro.
Yeah, bruh.
Gosh. Yeah, that lag.
I'm happy to see you smile, Mel. I know things are stressful around these parts of the neck of the woods, but
Hello.
I don't want to have like yelling conversations with everyone, but I do
no.
kind of expect that when we take the time to educate someone, they'll just try to understand and just instead of being like, nah, nah.
Hello, how are you guys?
Well, you can yell bro. You can yell bro at me though, bro.
Yes, what's your age, please?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yep.
My age? Oh, I just turned 24 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So I do agree with letting your child be whatever they feel like being. Whether they want to be attracted to a different gender, whether they want to cross-dress, whether that or this. But I do believe that surgeries are an adult decision.
Kids get all sorts of surgeries, so no.
Is there a surgery that a kid gets out of pure volition and will? That's not for something medical?
That's not what these surgeries are, but yeah, actually.
Nope.
Do you mind providing a few of those
They
examples?
get all sorts of medical surgeries.
Well, do you know what gynecomastia is?
No.
Gynecomastia is a condition where a young male develops breast tissue and will have actual breasts. So yeah, that male is able to have gender affirming care to have that tissue removed. Would you advocate that they should be able to do that, or should they have to wait until they're older to do that?
And so, how much percent of the human population has that?
Can you answer my? I'd be glad. I love the devaluing it by the numbers, but can you answer my question, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you mind
Should
asking?
they have access to that care or no?
If it's a choice and if it's something to better their health, then absolutely.
And that's the same thing for gender affirming care.
These are all about bettering their health. Yeah, that's
But their
actually the
mental
point,
health
dude.
or their physical health?
Both.
Yes.
Because for mental health, I do think that someone should see
It's
a
for both.
therapist or
They do, of course. Yeah.
That's why I am one.
Yeah.
That's why I am a therapist. Like they do.
And Tesla. Is it okay to call you Tesla? I don't know how to refer to you.
Yeah,
Is that
go
okay?
for it. Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
cool. Okay, I want to be respectful. I just want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
No, sure. But do you? And I'm not being a smartass, but do you know what gender affirming care entails?
No.
Can we share it with you briefly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. You want to take it? You want me to? I don't care.
Oh, bro, that's on you, bro.
Yeah, hey, bud. Cool. So gender affirming care. Basically, if you have a kid that tells you, Dad, I'm a boy. Dad, I'm a girl. The first step is just acknowledging them, having conversations, and not saying, oh, are you sure? Do you really know this? But just having conversations and seeing where it's coming from. One of the first steps with a social transition, is just using maybe the kid wants to use a different name or pronoun or a different haircut or different clothing. There's no harm in that whatsoever for any child at all.
And that's called a social change, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then one of the very next things would be counseling to see, is there an issue? Is the person experiencing any type of are they potentially trans? Are they maybe not, and they're just expressing themselves differently? Is there insistence, consistence, and persistence? showing that this is an ongoing thing. Okay, because some people like to say, "Oh, well, could they be a tomboy?" Sure, maybe they are. It's not the point of gender affirming care isn't to try and make anyone trans, because you can't make anyone trans. It's just see, is there something going on, and if so, how should it best be treated to make sure that they are that they feel comfortable and removing any distress they may have. If the child has a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, then the next step could potentially be puberty blockers, to put puberty on hold, to give time to work with the medical team to see what's going on and to really try and see the best ways to help them. And again, these numbers go down and more as you go along the way, because not everyone who's trans has to even have anything past counseling. Some people may or may not have gender dysphoria, and you have to have gender dysphoria diagnosis in order to move on to puberty blockers and then HRT potentially.
Okay, so are you finished, or because I'll let you finish?
There's just the hair more that you mentioned earlier, surgery. In just one sentence, they are extremely rare. If they do happen, they're maybe at the age of 17, usually not under 18. There are very rare exceptions. They're done with the consent of the parents, the child, and the medical team. And again, extremely rare. We can give you cases about that if you want to know, but that's a kind of like a framework for it. So the first step is counseling, and one of the biggest parts.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm on your side when it comes to that. As long as it's not 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds transitioning, I'm completely fine. And by transitioning, I don't mean a social transition. I mean a surgery transition. But how would you rebuttal if I gave you an example, the same example you're saying about going to counseling first and having that?
After me for a second. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like, let's say I wanted to drink before the age of 21, right? And I just had this incessant need to drink. I can't get throughout my day without feeling like I need to drink, and I'm not.
You need therapy, counseling.
Right. And
what if I get all of that, and then they still determine that I'm not getting better, and the only solution is for me to drink?
Well, they're not going to. That's the reality of it, because drinking alcohol, they're not analogous, and that's the reason. Drinking alcohol is not healthcare. People often say, why can't kids have tattoos? Why can't they drink? Why can't they drive? Why can't they vote? None of those are healthcare, and there are no healthcare professionals that are going to recommend a child have alcohol because they can't stop drinking. Nor would they recommend that to an adult either. That doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Never.
Right. But this is also something that the child chooses, right? Like, what if they want this? And
it's not a choice. It's just, if I can ask, Tesla, are you a man? Are you a man? Woman?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Were you assigned male at birth?
Yes.
So you're cisgender, right?
Yes.
That means you're not trans. You and I are both cisgender, but that doesn't mean that we made a choice to be cisgender, right? When did we choose to be boys when we were young? Was there a day that you said, hey, I choose to be a boy? No, you just knew you were, right?
Right.
It's the same thing for trans kids. They recognize their gender at a very young age, much like you and I did.
Yeah. I mean, again, back to my first point, I just feel like as long as people under the age of 18 are not making, surgical transitions, and I'm completely okay with whatever is their body, their choice. I know that I heard one time an analogy of, my kid wanted to be a pirate when he was 8, doesn't mean I cut off his leg and,
it's not a gender identity. Pirates aren't a gender identity either. And that's the question we're always going to ask people whenever they try and say something. Well, how about this? Is that a gender identity? No. No one is biologically a pirate,
Of course, but, to a kid that doesn't know much, that hasn't been to school, that doesn't know societal norms, that doesn't have social media, right? If I just play Pirates of the Caribbean all day, every single day, and they wanted to become a pirate, and they're like, I'm a pirate, I was born to be a pirate.
Okay, but that's the thing. This is not a want. This is not a choice.
Surgery is a choice.
Look, I loved Wonder Woman growing up. I never thought I was Wonder Woman, you know what I mean? It was just...
Right, and I was born loving Spider-Man, and I never wanted to shoot webs out of my wrist. I get it, but
exactly.
What I'm saying is, as long as there's no surgery before they become a legal adult, then I'm completely fine with whatever decision that they make. But as long as you guys are not advocating for a 13-year-old to be able to go through surgery.
But 17, I would absolutely advocate for 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yeah. Can we give you an example of when that might happen?
16, then you do 15, and then once you do 15, you do...
No, that's not true.
18 across the board.
Can we give you an example?
Why don't we just do 18 across the board?
Hang on, Tesla. Well, Tesla, hold on. Can we give you an example of what that might look like, of these rare cases when it might happen? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you might see a situation with a trans man. Okay, do you know? And I'm not being smart.
Woman transitioning to a man. Yeah, I understand.
Assigned female at birth, who is a man, you know?
Right.
Woman, never been a
So
woman.
you may have a point where he's going to college in the fall. And by being able to have, and maybe years into this process, like years into it, this isn't going to happen overnight, okay?
Right.
And by having the top surgery before going into college, that would allow them to have a safer and healthier start into college without having to go through that publicly in front of people during college, having to have that physical change in college. Does that make sense? Why that?
Yeah, that makes sense. But you can also apply that to a plethora of different things. 18 is a very pivotal age when it comes to schooling and when it comes to being able to drive and all these things. But I feel like if you're going to make a personal choice and if you are going to be in public situations, that you do have to take public scrutiny, right? Like for my Tesla, I love my Tesla. A lot of girls love my Tesla, but a lot of guys don't like my Tesla, and a lot of people send me death threats. I got death threats yesterday, but that doesn't change.
That's not a part of you, though. That's a choice.
No, it is though, because
Right.
I feel like it's a part of me.
Oh, come on.
No,
I also
no,
drive
you
an
can't
electric
invalid- no, you
vehicle.
can't
Not Tesla. Seriously, I mean, look.
I also drive an electric vehicle, and
Yeah, but you
it
can't.
comes
Yeah,
with-
but you're not a car guy. You get me? That's me. That's me telling you what
But
I
it's
am.
okay that it's okay that you like your car.
Even if
and no one's
what you're saying might be
invalidating.
ridiculous to me, and what I'm saying might be ridiculous to you, doesn't change the facts.
No, I
You
think
were
you're being
born-
disingenuous with it. Because
You were born in an electric car. Like, come
No,
on.
I was born. Okay, but I still get death threats for it.
People are just trans. They're not choosing to be trans. That is completely different. You
Well,
chose
choosing to have a
drive an electric
surgery is a
vehicle.
choice.
Okay, but are you having surgery to become a Tesla? No.
No, but I had the choice to pick that car.
Okay, but you also tried bringing the driving analogy of waiting until you're 18. Kids don't wait until they're 18 to drive, do they?
I did. I had to.
You don't
You,
have
you,
to.
you couldn't get a license until you're 18 in your state?
Yep.
What state is that, please?
State?
Florida. Yeah, I couldn't drive by myself until I was 18.
But you're able to drive.
I mean, I didn't before I was 18.
But you're able to drive before you're 18, correct?
I mean,
In the state of Florida, you don't have to wait till you're 18 to get a license.
Well, I mean, if you want to drive by yourself, you have to be 18.
Right, so you're making
Not the
decisions
question.
for 18 with parental advice and supervision, correct?
Yeah.
It's the exact same. Yep, the exact same.
Okay, so a
Again,
16-year-old.
not an analogous comparison here, but since it was yours, even with your comparison that's not analogous, you can do it under the age of 18 with parental consent and supervision.
Okay, do you think that parents should have the ultimate choice in that, though?
It's not the
If a
parent's
kid wants to do
choice.
it.
It's the parent, the child, and the medical team. It's
At
very long
18, yeah,
process.
the parents are absolutely involved. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it should be 18, just all across the board.
Well, I'm glad that you feel like that, but if my child got approved to have a surgery under the age of 18 that she really needed, I would consent to that. So I feel like it should be up to the parents, the child, and the medical professionals, and not you.
Right, not me, but
And also, yeah, I also just looked it up, Tesla. I don't know if it's changed recently, but I looked it up on my laptop while we're talking. You were either incorrect or being intentionally deceitful because 16 is the age of driving in Florida. You don't need to have a parent in the car for that.
Okay, well, that's what I was always told, at least. So maybe everyone just lied to me.
Well, so that's why it's important to learn and educate. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
It doesn't really change my driving experience at all, waiting those 2 years. But
You weren't.
but you
the
made-
whole
you-
point
you
is
made a
you
claim
weren't
that there was
born
a
into
law.
Tesla. You weren't born
you're
into.
not born into surgery. You get me? You're not
You
born
were
into
born-
transition.
Oh my god.
Because that's an option, right? That's a decision you have to make.
Yeah. Do boys typically want breast?
No.
No. So should they be allowed to get a surgery to remove breasts that they don't want, and they're very aware that they don't want?
Well, once they become informed about all the facts and all of that, they should. Once they become a legal adult.
No, you actually are informed. You can be informed before you become an adult. Surgeries, medical care are not an adult thing.
It feels like you're being a little dishonest with the conversation because you've changed your stance, and I don't know why it's changed because you actually said that you were fine. In the rare cases we explained to you that it's very rare under the age of 18. And you said, okay, well, as long as we're on the same page and nothing, and we explained it to you and you were fine.
Well,
But
if it's like a short, if it's a small
now you're kind of going
percentage,
this.
then absolutely. existential circumstances,
Then
and
you brought up
absolutely.
alcohol, and then you brought up your
Yeah, then you brought up alcohol and becoming a Tesla.
But I mean,
So,
this is something you guys deal with every day, and questions you know the answers to. This is, someone just scrolling through TikTok live and wanting to give their opinion. I'm not prepared for any of this. I've never heard
that's
of
okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
We didn't ask you to be prepared for any of it. We were giving you the education, and you just keep saying,
No,
"Well,
correct, but you're saying that my knowledge for some reason is lesser than yours.
No, we're not. No, we don't.
Well, that's how you're making it
Absolutely,
seem.
absolutely not. We're not.
Not
saying
you.
that.
I'm talking
you
about the host.
comparing
I'm
your
sorry.
choice on what vehicle you get, and if you get hate on that, to
Yeah,
being
because it was a choice
transgender,
that I made when I was 18.
Okay, well,
being transgender."
It's not being. I'm saying transitioning. I'm saying physical transition.
and okay. I think we're kind of going in circles. We already addressed that. And you agreed with it. So now, do you agree or not agree? I'm not sure which one it is.
Well, once you're a legal adult, I feel like you have the right to do whatever you want.
And in the rare cases before that, you were making the decision.
Well,
to
if it's
discuss
a
with your medical
man
team.
with breasts and it's not, changing reproductive organs, and I don't see it as a big deal.
Great. So people should have access to that healthcare. That's it. That's all. It's fine. And I want to be very clear. We're not mocking your knowledge whatsoever. We're engaging with.
No, I'm not talking about you. I think you've been extremely respectful. I promise
sure.
you that I'm not there.
Absolutely not.
You're gonna silence me for that?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it was going disingenuous. Maybe it started off really well, but all right.
Yeah, usually there's some kind of like alcohol, a fucking car. Come on now. Anyway, if you guys saw me get a phone call in there, they called and see if I can come to my appointment early. So
Oh,
I'm gonna do that. Get it done with.
all right.
So thank you guys for watching, and that's why I didn't let anyone else in. Sorry, I was just trying to end that conversation. And yeah, that was really gross to be like, oh, you were fine, bish, but her.
Oh, it must have been listening to that guy from the football. What's it? From the football.
Oh,
On
God.
on 78
Worst.
day.
And I talked about that with a few of my friends too, and that type of if you've seen that video, that is what made me and a lot of other women, that type of mentality, feel like we are nothing more than wives and mothers when we become like that's the purpose of life. Like that shit is harmful. Stop it. Anyway, I'm gonna go to my appointment. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.